Give me like 2 minutes for this game to be over, so I ain't distracted and shit.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I'll stop it. All right. Welcome to the Bagland Podcast, everybody. Got a long time homie of mine, Mike Titan, super producer. If you could, well, I know who you is, shit, but you know, for anybody else, just kind of let them know, you know, who you is and you know the stuff you do and all that.
What's up, y'all? I'm Mike Titan. Born and raised, born on the south side, raised on the north side. Beat maker, regular dude, man.
Okay.
Working in IT for about 7 years. Been making beats for almost 30.
Okay, and then now we're probably, you know, y'all probably gonna think this is a little bit different of a program and stuff. We're gonna be talking shit for the most part, like, you know, not probably gonna be talking about a whole lot of beats, but you know, tons of stories and just all kind of different shit. We were talking about earlier this week. Oh, let me close this. I got my little Google. I got so many damn things open. So we is gonna talk about IT a little bit, but we were talking about I'll segue into that. But we were talking.
I forgot to add Atheist evangelist to my
resume.
That
yeah, okay. That's where we're gonna start. We're gonna start with that. Because I'm hearing some rumors that you've been elected to speak with the Pope. I've been hearing that. I know that.
He ain't got nothing to say to me.
Yeah, he would be like, "Nah, man, don't get this nigga the mic." He would be like, "Oh, no." But you know what?
No, I wouldn't disrupt the party, but if he wanted to have a conversation, you know what I'm saying?
He'd have to tell you a lot of lies. That's one thing.
Pretty much. See, the Pope is high level. The Pope knows the truth. The Pope is gonna know whatever I tell him. He's gonna be like, "Well, I know about that," and
now when you
shake my face.
Now when you tell him, "Hey man, what's up with that gold you stole from Africa? Can you give that back?" Hey, wait a minute, nigga, hold on. Like, we ain't gonna talk about that. They probably got all kind of shit in the Vatican.
Swiss guard. You got the Swiss guard to come escort me clean out of there.
I wonder if they got, you know, with the Swiss guard, they got guns and stuff, or they got like knives and shit.
Every time I see them, they got like swords and shit, but I'm pretty sure it's some heat somewhere. They got snipers and all types of shit.
I was gonna tell you, man.
I wouldn't fuck around in Vatican City.
Okay, I was gonna say, man, we could send over some serial hood. We could send over some serial hood hitters to go get that gold back. But they might pop out they might have like something in the castle, fam, where they just pop out and you got some kind of little old English 1800 bazooka with infrared on it or something like that. To get them niggas up out of there.
Got that damn laser beam trap from them heist movies and shit.
Oh my gosh, it's, you know, and what's crazy is when we were talking like, and so you said, okay, you said the atheist evangelist. What is that?
Well, I am a non-believer, a staunch non-believer, and I feel like it's my duty to inform people that what they believe might not be the best thing for them.
Okay, so basically,
I feel as if it's my duty.
So like if you're talking to somebody and somebody's trying to drag you to Creflo Dollar's mega church saying, you know, I want to see a tax return, brother. I know there's a ghetto two, three blocks down, and I got this Rolls Royce, but we need to see a tax return. So you gonna tell him what? Creflo
Dollar.
This is Creflo.
Boy.
This is Rolls Royce Creflo to need that private jet. But you know, in East Atlanta,
tell
man.
Tell him to fuck off.
Old Creflo.
It's like I won't initiate that conversation, but if they say something that's like obviously false, I'm gonna rebut it right there. Rebut it right there.
They actually have. I've heard of instances where, and to me, I think Olstein, all of them, man. I think that's some foul shit. You got a giant building, and blocks down the ghetto, and folks still falling for this guy. Coming in,
they believe he has some holy truth, holy word of God. They still believe the bullshit.
So why don't
you could easily fool it?
Well, why don't people just say, hey, listen, you're telling me to pay these tithes and then you're going to give me a blessing. Why don't you just give me the game? How you got this money, how you got this Rolls Royce? Why don't you just tell me how to proceed?
They don't care. They don't care about that. They think that he deserves that because he's a man of God. They believe that, you know, that's it's part of the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was talking to the homeboy one day, talking about specifically tithes, and he said something that made sense on a local church level. He's like, well, my mom's a pastor, and you're not really giving your tithes to the Lord. It's like, we don't get paid for this, so, you know, we need your help to keep the roof over this sanctuary.
And that's logical.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it makes sense. But you don't need a private jet, purple dollar.
No, you don't.
Whatever that the son of the mask face motherfucker is, Kenneth Copeland and all them. What's the other guy? Joel Osteen. You don't need that. It's the exact opposite of Jesus' teaching.
Yeah, I mean it's a bastardized version that has been, and see. Like, remember what I remember one time we were talking about it, I could think a couple of days ago, where now, you know, you'll go up in majority, not all, but a good majority, too many. You'll say, okay, you got Pookie and Ray Ray, Jerome, Bushika, and you have, you know, this nigga might be knocking a broad upside the head. She done had about 1,000 abortions and 50 kids out of wedlock. And then you have lettuce, bacon, and tomato Jones. This nigga's coming up and you got to walk in and address him as his pronouns, whatever. Well, and then he won't say nothing. Oh, well, as long as he's paying tithes, it's like, well, wait a minute. No, there was a time, especially like I'll say back when black folks was really fighting Jim Crow, and, you know, when there was a lot of revolutionary things going on, you know, the pastor will be like, all right, hold on, nigga, pull up your pants. Okay, you a deadbeat ass nigga. You can't set for, there was a code of conduct. There was something where somebody will call you out and be like, hey, nigga, no, this ain't working. You, Bushika.
In the church? I ain't never heard of that.
Oh, back in the day, they would, okay, I'll give a prime example. Color Purple. We remember that.
That's fiction.
Right. But there was a time where you would get called out. Maybe it probably might have been before our time. But
I've never heard of that.
You couldn't walk in there and just, you know, they say, well, just come as you are, have 50 bastard babies and never be married and this single mother feminist shit. That shit didn't fly at a certain time, fam. That shit didn't fly at a certain time. You weren't just praised for that, like, oh, well, it's all good. Hell no. Now they just let anybody in there. For example, I wouldn't join, but I respect a lot of things. Like, for example, the Nation. You can't just come in there like Cardi B. You can't come in there.
No, that's true. They do have a standard.
They have a standard.
That's one thing I'll give the Nation. They do have a high standard. Not everybody follows it.
No, they don't.
If you really are a follower, you supposed to hold yourself.
Man, you're supposed to hold that.
You
couldn't walk up to. You got to think. And that's why I love about Malcolm. He didn't really judge folks. He was like, man, hey, I was out in these streets doing everything, but he really was about that shit. Like, he was really revolutionary. You couldn't come to him and say, hey, Malcolm, I be pimping hoes, and he ain't gonna co-sign that shit at all. And he would tell you, hey, brother, no, I'm not co-signing that for you. I don't believe in that.
Most of these preachers used to be pimps. Like, they used to be some type of criminal.
Yep.
And they figured out a new hustle. That's all it is. It's a new hustle.
I used to always wonder when I used to always hear like the old pimps. I used to hear like it'd be Snoop Dogg. remember sometimes I hear Pimp C always say tabernacle sanctuary, and I said, wait a minute. So you're right. It's because prostitution has been around for thousands of years, of course, but they found a hustle where they could basically say, all right, listen, I got this book here. I want you, and a lot of them, a lot of people will hold the pastor over the word itself. That's the biggest commonality right now. You'll have a pastor nowadays that'll say, well, yeah, it's okay. You be lettuce, bacon, and tomato 5,000, abort and kill your babies. I'm like, wait a minute, nigga. That's completely against the doctrine that you preach. But they don't give a fuck because they're getting a check. A lot of them have, I call them Warlock, Raphael Warlock. That nigga down there in Georgia been kicking all his members. He'll have like a house, right? And a lot of that will be in the name of the church, but it's nonprofit. Whenever I hear nonprofit, I always think of the word profit. Always. I've never looked at a nonprofit as, oh, well, they're not making a profit. No, they paying less taxes. Especially in Minneapolis here, a lot of these nonprofits, these little white liberals, they getting bread, fam.
Well, see, there's a difference between a nonprofit and a not-for-profit. With a nonprofit, you can make profit, but it's not supposed to go in your pocket. It's supposed to go back into the nonprofit. That's how it works.
Yeah, with Billy Bob, it goes
You're
right in
supposed
his
to make
pocket.
enough to pay yourself. That's written into the charters and shit. You're supposed to be able to pay yourself to live, but you're not supposed to, take any excess. That goes right back into whatever business it is.
Yeah, Billy Bob here in Minneapolis, it goes right in their pocket. Every now and then they get caught. Just like what you heard about in the news. They would get sloppy, buying houses and mansions and everything. But they be Black Lives Matter Corporation. We could go on and on about that. We know the deal. We ain't even got to go in detail with that. That's a prime example. Ferguson ain't supposed to be in the condition it is.
Is it a non-profit or is it a not-for-profit? You know what I'm saying?
Let me look.
Big difference.
Let's go to BLM, a.k.a. pronoun, steal from black dead bodies.
Like when Black Lives Matter first came around, I was with it because I thought it was just an ideology. I didn't know it was an organization. That's when I was like, oh, okay.
Well, they try to switch it up. Yeah, they try to switch it up. Like, okay, now listen to this shit. And I was going to get into this later, but I'm going to have to tie this in a little bit because it's kind of part of the conversation. Now, this shit ain't got nothing to do with Trayvon or Mike Brown. Listen to this. We're expansive, a collective of liberators, inclusive, spacious, okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we affirm that this is what will get a person here. We affirm the lives of black, queer, and trans folks. That's lettuce, bacon, tomato 5,000. Disabled folks.
That's the first. Wait, that's the first thing they said.
The second. I skipped the first part.
Oh,
but that's
okay.
the second. But that should be the first thing. Like when I looked at this website, Black Lives Matter was founded in 2013 in response to acquittal of Trayvon Martin's murderer. Black Lives Matter Network Foundation is a global organization in the US, AK, and Canada whose mission is to eradicate white supremacy and build local power, to intervene in violence inflicted on black communities by the state of vigilantes. And right down when you go here, it says, we affirm the lives of black, queer, and trans folk, disabled folks, undocumented, which means illegals. Shout out to Ukraine. Shout out to Fernando. Shout out to folks that ain't been here 5 minutes getting all types of grants and loans. Well, black folks, they tell DP and Titan, well, no, man, we can't give you no business loan. We give you a college loan with records, women, and all black lives along the gender spectrum. Our network centers those who have been marginalized within black liberation movements. And really what they're saying is like this CRT bullshit. Critical race theory. White supremacy is not a theory. That's
exactly.
That's not a theory. I mean, you have. Yeah. I can name white supremacists that from the 1930s, like Vance Muse. He says, "I'm a Southerner and I'm from white supremacy." He said that. I didn't say that. They said that. They came up with that concept while they was inflicting slavery, Jim Crow, everything else, busting niggas' heads and doing everything else. That's not me talking. That's them talking. So really, when they said undocumented folks with records, women, all black, they're talking about
that shouldn't be a part of a black organization. Like we have enough problems to be taking on other people's shit. And not saying that they don't deserve, you know what I'm saying, but that's not our fight.
Yeah, that's not. And you know what they say? Keyword: eradicate white supremacy. What I just named in that second thing, that's a major part of white supremacy right there. Because number one, Trayvon and Mike Brown wasn't lettuce, bacon, and tomato 5,000. They weren't. These were young black men minding their own business. They weren't out here bussy searching. They were out here minding their own business, walking down the street. They weren't looking for Ed Buck, and they weren't looking for what's the one nigga with the country song where the country people basically say, "Nigga, you ain't country." He was an industry plant.
Lil Nas X.
Yeah, he wasn't. Yeah, and you know it was a plant because this nigga can't fill up a stadium, got billions of views, and they had to put Nas' name in there. If I was Jones, Nasir Jones, I'd be like, nigga, please. I guess he said I'll just stay out of it, but that was slick. Like
that got popular because kids was listening to that shit.
Right, but look at
really
the name.
What happened?
You could tell he was planning. He was another Tekashi. He's a bussy Tekashi. He was basically in a situation where they said, all right, man, how can we try to convince the young people, you know what I'm saying, to get ready for this little pronoun crap? And how can we sexually target the young people? How can we do that? Well, let's just throw this unknown nigga. I don't know where he came from. He didn't have no history, no street cred, no background. And then you put this little catchy song, and then after a while he says, well, yeah, I'm the bussy boy. I'm the bussy pharaoh. And you're like, what? Okay, you know that was a plant. But see, what bothers me about Black Lives Matter corporate is you have, what they did is, and this is another thing they did to undermine black folks, bro. They said, let's get 3 lesbian chicks, put them on a pedestal, and give them some money. And then when they got investigated, they really didn't investigate the white liberals either. You had folks like the folks that was really stomping for real down in Ferguson, the real grassroots, like the brother Darren Seals. He slapped the shit out of one of them Black Lives Matter niggas that came down there. He came down there. Don Lemon came down there. I think Jesse Jackson. I think they ran Jesse and Sharpton out of town. Like, nigga, you ain't coming in with your grifting. But they slapped the hell out of this one nigga, man, from Black Lives Matter because they knew what they were doing. We out here dying and getting attacked with militarized weapons, and y'all out here is trying to propagandize bussy. And so you oh shit, that's what they were doing, and they figured it out. And what's really sad is, you know, I was at a IT conference, a virtual one, and I happened to talk to a sister from Ferguson, and I was asking her about it, and she was really kind of tap dancing around the subject, bro. I mean, she was doing the Gregory Hines, and I said, man, what's going on with Ferguson? Like, you know, because I don't hear anything. I said, is it in the same? She said, man, they still doing the same shit. It's worse. And see, all that money was supposed to rebuild. That was supposed to be a fucking Ferguson reparations. Y'all, they done got millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. Ain't a dime went back there. They might have chipped off.
They don't talk about. Go ahead.
They don't. I mean, they might have chipped off Mike Brown's mom money, a couple dollars or whatever, rightfully so. But it's like, what they do is they know the mothers are, you know, you can't go back to work after that happens to your child. I mean, you're not in the right mind. And they'll show up in a Cadillac, you know who I'm talking about, and be like, well, I'm sorry that your family done got this, and you know, I'm gonna get some justice. You know, so they'll send somebody out there like that, and then once they're done, they'll ambulance chase to the next black murder. Which, you know, and they'll start using these little lettuce, bacon, and tomato talking points, and it has nothing to do with the homicide. It has nothing to do with the homicide whatsoever. At all. That's
what I was going to say. They don't talk about any of them anymore. They don't talk about Trayvon. They don't talk about Mike Brown. They don't talk about Ricky Boyd. The latest one is George Floyd. So when it's brought up, that's who they talk about. But they don't talk about the countless many others before that.
Right. And, you know, like, I'm shit. The one, another thing that they do, bro, is like, and this is another thing. I might do this article tonight. It's called the Cyber Sambo Report. You might have read it when I made it on my site. But basically, man, this is another thing, and a lot they don't do it as much because folks like us be calling it out. A lot of the young folks calling it out. They hit black folks with this forgiveness bullshit. No, I'll consider that after the damn mallet drops and you get a life sentence. What they do is they'll ask these old Negroes a lot of times on the news, oh, well, you had Billy Bob shoot up the church and he killed 15 people. Will you forgive him? Now, they don't ask other races of people that. When they had the school shooting down there in Texas, a lot of the Mexicans was like, man, I ain't forgiving shit. They ask old black folks that shit all the time, and it puts us in danger because when the sentencing comes up and the impact statements come up, the DA's like, well, yeah, this white supremacist killed all these black people. He needs a chance. He really deserves a chance. That's why I like Ahmaud Arbery's mother. She wasn't with the forgiveness bullshit. She said, no. I want them to get major time. You chased my son down and you killed him. I want y'all to get major time. DOJ's Biden, shout out to the Biden butt kissers, the 94 crime bill Negroes. The DOJ was trying to figure out a way because these dudes ended up getting life sentences. The judge surprisingly hit their ass with a heavy life sentence. You know, that's Georgia. You know, them Georgia prisons ain't no joke. The Department of Justice was trying to give these dudes Fed time, bro. And Fed time, I mean, it's dangerous, but it ain't like Georgia state prisons. They were trying to give them concurrent time so they could get it a little lighter in a federal prison. And the mom was like, no, if she wouldn't have kept fighting them and said, no, they need to do hard Georgia plantation time. So now, I don't know, they're probably checking in or running from Big Bubba or something up in that motherfucker now. But, you know, now they're doing hard time. Hard.
They didn't linked up with the white supremacists in there. They didn't.
I mean, they
heads more than likely.
Yeah, they probably can. But you know, for the most part, you get places like that in the South, in California, and Chicago, and places like that. The Mexicans and the white supremacists, the Aryans, they have a major control over the prison. But the thing is the inmates run the yard. It ain't, it ain't like up here where, I mean, it's kind of lawless when you get into the other major cities and prisons. Like the inmates run. You got to think that the guards got to go home. Guards get killed all the time in places like New York and California and all the time, bro. So they're not necessarily going to be safe. They're not necessarily going to be safe just because they join, So I don't know. I don't know. They may have to lock them down like Chauvin or something like that, where they can't go nowhere. But I mean, somebody could easily. I mean, they have of course they have. You have the guard rules or the prison rules, but then you have convict code. And somebody may just they may just catch their ass. You got to think, Chauvin can't be in population. There's a lot of Aryans, especially here. There's a lot of them in Oak Park Heights and shit like that, but that don't mean he gonna be straight. That man ain't in population. He's doing all that time alone. And if things get too sticky for him, they'll ship him somewhere else. They'll protect him. I mean, I don't know if you heard about it, but even when he was in the county, there was guards giving him phones, bro. So, that was a concerted effort. I think it's more than meets the eye about that whole situation. Like, as we know, the Minneapolis MPD, they got all kind of shit they be doing. So, but yeah, man, I mean, and they all tied in. Look, the Black Lives Matter, they tied in with a lot of these coon church pastors. They're all locked in. They're all locked in, designed to undermine black folk. NAACP.
That's part of the whole doctrine. Turn the other cheek, put it in God's hands, but it's not real. You're putting it in the hands of a fairy tale when we need to really take it into our own hands and make changes for ourselves. That's why we still stuck in this fucking condition.
Well, I used to ask old folks all the time. I grew up in the church and stuff, but when I start asking about his actions, physical actions, like about doing specifics. They always hit me with well, we just gotta wait. Wait for what? Well,
Exactly.
And really what they mean is, I don't want to be a leader. I don't want to lead. I want to make excuses. Now, if you ask them about a black person walking down the street without their pants sagging, and this nigga done did some time, or you need to do the time, you do the crime. They got a lot of answers for that. They got a whole lot for that. But when you start asking them about, like, all right, what do we need to do to build, you can ask them something simple. Oh, how do we build a black business? Every church should have that.
They teach them that in theology school.
How do you build a black business? Oh, well, okay, what do you do? What do you do if you're accosted by this white supremacist and he's attacking you? Well, you turn the other cheek. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. If they want to use verses every time, you can bring this verse up. Okay, well, when people were disrespecting the Lord's house, he was whooping ass. Jesus was putting hands and feet on people. He didn't turn the other cheek. He was whipping ass. Well, you might have took that out of context. No. See, what a lot of and it's mainly the old folks, what they have found is they will pick any kind of cowardice out of any religious doctrine they can. Your belief system is based on your belief system, whether it's a personal or religious belief system. You're going to have some belief system based on you personally. So if you're a coward, you're going to pick cowardice. If you got some kind of revolutionary spirit, you're going to pick some revolution. Nat Turner, yeah, he was on the plantation and he said, wait a minute. He started reading. He's looking through this, said, wait a minute. It says right here, I'm not supposed to be doing this shit for free. Now, the slave master told me otherwise. He said that in this verse here, it says that I'm supposed to be doing this for free. He did some further reading. No, wait a minute. No, this ain't going to work. And he gathered up some black folks to say, all right, we going to get off this plantation. We going to tear some shit up. He was on his way to, remember I was telling you about we were talking about the Seminoles in Florida. Mm-hmm. I found out today he was on his way down to Florida. That was another side of rail. That was another underground railroad that a lot of people didn't know. They brought what they tried to do is the same thing with this Black Lives Matter corporate bullshit. They tried to convince the people that, these white abolitionists, the white savior that has helped us out. No, it was some black folks that was tearing shit up that broke slavery too. They were the ones that really shut the shit down. Nobody just gave us freedom. That's a big thing that we were told in school, that somebody just said, well, someone just felt bad. No. It was some John horses, some folks. It was some revolutionary people, man, back there that, they made it seem almost as if everybody was just sliding and bowing and scraping, and that wasn't true. You had some black folks up there terrorizing shit down there to get free.
They woke up.
They said, man, I'm not about to be working for you, building your paradise while I don't even have my own. And a lot of them Florida, I never knew anything about them Seminoles. The Seminoles was a major issue on why slavery ended. They was tearing shit up. Bro. Taking names, addresses, and emails. And there was a book when
they caught him, they asked him when they caught Nat Turner, they tried to ask him, they couldn't believe that he was the mastermind behind the shit, and they tried to figure out who it was, and he kept repeating, Jean-Jacques Dessalines. Jean-Jacques Dessalines. We hear about Toussaint Louverture in Haiti, but there were others down there who were ruthless.
Oh, Dessalines put in work.
Yeah, and that's who that's who Nat Turner was inspired by.
And okay, did John Brown come first or after Turner? Because they were terrified. They really had to get rid of John Brown because did John Brown come first or after?
Nat Turner was in the 1700s. I think John Brown was a little bit after.
Okay.
I'm not sure though. I could look it up though.
They had to get Yep, you're right. Okay, John Brown 1800 to 1859. Let me see Nat Turner. Let's get the dates right. 1800 to 1831. So the Nat Turner Slave Rebellion, August 21st to August 23rd, 1831. And John Brown.
Let's see when Harper's Ferry was.
So Harper's Ferry was later, I think. Let me see. I think one of the presidents, they put a hit. They put a hit on John Brown. And John Brown put a hit on him back. John Brown was a writer too. So he died in 1859. Turner died in 1831. Okay, so let's see. Harper's Ferry. All right. Bleeding Kansas. Okay, let me just get the times right.
1859 was the raid on Harper's Ferry, October 16th through the 18th.
1859. Okay, and then
Nat Turner's rebellion. Let's see.
February. Yeah, his rebellion was 1831.
Like 1831. So okay. A little before.
So those two rebellions had the nation shook. They said, we can't have no Negroes thinking like this. We can't have that because that was giving too many bright ideas. Like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Yep. And there was many others. There was many others. But yeah, man. I mean, let's see here. But when I seen that website, I was just kind of like, okay, yeah. When they said, we appreciate your support of the movement and our ongoing fight to end state-sanctioned violence, liberate black people, and end white supremacy forever. Not a damn word about reparations. See, anytime you see the Congressional Black Caucus, NAACP, any of that stuff, when they don't mention, these are bare necessities. These are just bare bones. It should just roll off your tongue, just like when you get up in the morning and brush your teeth. When you start seeing little cold words about trans vegetables and undocumented folks, like how many black folks is undocumented? Yeah, it's some, but y'all talking about illegal Latins. That's really what you're talking about. You're not talking about us, because these movements to get all this damn money, you're like, okay, where did it go? Y'all didn't do shit. There was really nothing you did. So yeah, I mean, like you said, as the slogan, like, okay, yeah, the what I call boots on the ground, the people, folks kind of like me or you, they're not looking, they never really looked at the corporate part as a, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of folks has backed away from that shit because they're like, man, this is a feminist movement, which is very cancerous to black society. We weren't meant to be, basically what they would tell you is, yeah, it's okay to have a single mother home. A village doesn't raise a child. That's what feminism really truly means. YouTube is not going to be happy with this. Huh?
I don't believe that. I think it might have turned into that, but that's not the spirit of it. I believe in feminism. I'm like Chappelle. I'm a TERF. You know what I'm saying? I believe in feminism. But
feminism has done nothing for black people whatsoever. Nothing. Feminism is the epitome of basically when you, okay, what you hear about it most of the time, right? For example, you'll hear something like this. oh, the male patriarchy and this, that, and the third, and oh, black male patriarchy. That's all bullshit. Now, they won't say the same thing about white, so-called white patriarchy. Like this Me Too fraud shit. You had KRS-3, you know who I'm talking about. You had KRS-3 and all of them leading the charge. Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, this, that, and the third. It's like, okay. And then Weinstein, they were just a little light. They were a little light, bro. Epstein, Weinstein, all these, they're real light. They were real. They were very careful about how they spoke against white men. One of them, yes, they were. They did not have a 6-part Lifetime series on Weinstein. He done raped about 1,000 bitches. Now, yeah, R. Kelly, he did some bogus shit. But what's crazy about the R. Kelly thing, all you niggas knew about it. Everybody in Chicago knew about that shit. Let it go. The managers, the parents. This nigga, do you know, bro, that the parents were bringing their daughters to this nigga?
Yeah, they idol worship.
This nigga can't read or write, bro.
The personality.
Do you know that this nigga can't read?
Yes, I do.
He can't even read. When he was a kid, his I think it was his sister or something molested him. Like, Jive seen a gold mine. They're like, oh man, this little nigga don't know nothing. So they said, oh, okay, he likes young girls. All right, we'll fund it. I think it was a ring, to be quite honest. That's what I really believe. I think it was a ring. Because you got some of these parents, they never got charged. They hit this with a nigga with a RICO, bro. I don't support no RICO against them. Not at all. Not one bit. You know why? Because you ain't got a RICO for the Proud Boys. See, a RICO was supposed to bring down the mob. Now, if you want to get this nigga life sentences for him messing with them girls, just fine. I support that. But a RICO should be everybody. The manager, hell, bring the record label in it. They had to know about it. Motherfuckers knew. They stopped. You know what? They decided to charge Kelly, and they made it a big deal when he stopped selling records. If he still would have been selling records like that, we probably would have heard about it and this, that, and the third. But when he stopped paying those people, I mean, he bought one. I think there was a case where he bought one of the girls' fathers a fucking car lot. I mean, I'm like, how can you not include everyone else in the RICO? The manager, his security guard. You're telling me that the industry didn't know about this? Somebody knew about this shit. This studio he had in Chicago, somebody knew that you was fucking with these little girls. And Chicago was silent, of course. Chicago didn't say shit. They kind of just let it go.
Shitty.
This
I
nigga,
know motherfuckers trying to defend R. Kelly.
Man, this
what?
This nigga was actually going to McDonald's in the same place he used to pick up girls when he got out of jail. So, and I don't know. I guess out there they do some Color Purple shit. Maybe that's a normal thing. I don't know. Maybe that's just the nature of the street up there with that. But yeah, I mean, all them niggas, street niggas, everybody knew about that shit. They had to. He was from there.
It's one of them things that black people tend to sweep under the rug, man. Pedophilia and motherfucking.
Man, that's not good, man. That's not good at all, bro.
It's not good, but once again, they put it in the Lord's hands. Wipe their hands clean.
Man, if somebody did something to my daughter, man, I'll wipe my hands clean, all right. And they don't really, especially here in Minnesota, you know as well as I do, bro. They pretty much just kind of let that shit go. Now, if you get caught in a place like Texas, some shit, I mean, they gonna give you time. Major 60, 70, 80 years for doing something to a child, for the most part. Here, they don't give no time. So then I came to some other thoughts. I said, what if they're so light on this because a lot of people in power of political positions are involved in it too? What if?
That's the rumor. The what they call it, the QAnon motherfucker. You remember the Pizzagate and all that shit?
I think there's some validity to some of these things, man, because I remember, now I'm reaching, and I can't prove this at all, or at least not yet. Remember those people I was telling you about, them Order of the Ninth Angles, motherfucker. Usually these little cults and all these little white supremacist fringe groups and all these little weird ass groups, and you hear about kids being abducted and all that, and these Satanists and shit like that. Usually when they find the kids or they find the person, it's usually something like that. It's some sickos or groups of sickos and networks. Like I seen something on Netflix where I think it was not Ed Gein. It was they were profiling serial killers. Come to find out, was it Gacy? It was somebody. It was some known serial killer. Come to find out, when the investigative journalists dug it up, and this was a long time ago, so of course we find out the evils much later. It was a pedophile network. He wasn't just killing people. It was like serial killers all clicked up, abducting kids, trafficking them, and murdering them. So we have enough evidence to know that some of these murders are probably involved in trafficking and sex crimes against children. There was another case I covered, and I'll send you the show, but I covered it because nobody else would. It was some lettuce, bacon, tomato, Bob and Tommy. They were married, of course, and they adopted these special needs kids. They were raping them. They were selling them. This right-wing publication did some investigative work, and what they found out, they did enough investigation. They found out that they had been selling these children. They had been texting some of the people saying they were going to rape the children. They had recorded it. This is sick shit. Some shit I don't even want to say, but like the way they got found out is one of them was working for the state. And the state got cool money, but not money like that. Like they had a big ass fucking rapper mansion, and people were like, how the fuck did they get this money? They were selling those kids for 10 bands of WAP. And I mean, those kids now, you're not hearing none of the mainstream cover none of that. So I'm like, okay, if you got, these are white kids, mind you. If you got something like that demonic going on, and the mainstream ain't covering it, ain't nobody really rallying behind it, the lettuce, bacon, and tomato ain't said shit. They don't want to have anything to do with it. Just like this old, and fuck his pronouns, this asshole that killed those kids down there, and people was talking about, well, you're disrespecting, you're misgendering him in a death. He could burn in hell. Matter of fact, I got some music.
I thought that was a chick. That was a tranny?
That was a vegetable. That was a vegetable. That was a dude, a woman, a dude turned woman, or whatever the hell. A dude turned woman. Now I've been doing this. I gotta play him some special music.
Now it's a fucking blown off brain now. Got his brain rolled off.
Yeah, I've been doing this. I like to play this when we get people like that, what I talk about on the show.
Sick.
I like to play this. There's a place where I think he needs to rest, as far as I'm concerned. There's a place that he could rest, as far as I'm concerned. He could rest in piss. The hell with his damn pronouns and his misgendering. Killed several kids. I think he killed a teacher. I don't give a damn about his. You see, and that's, as society, we have to stop talking about, well, they deserve respect. No, they don't. No, they don't. Why do they deserve any respect? You went into a school and you killed a bunch of children. I don't have any remorse for people like that, bro. I just don't. And I don't plan to get around to it. I don't. And it's a damn shame that he didn't get no time.
I'm starting to believe that whole conspiracy about them trying to, take guns out of the population's hands. Because you notice how every time when something like this happens, that's the first rally call. We got to get rid of the assault rifle. Like, that's the issue.
It is. And I know we always, over the years, we always talked about a lot of different topics and so-called conspiracy theories, but it's, at some point, bro, these ain't just no damn theories. At some point, some of this shit just ain't no damn theories. They are real conspiracies.
It's only a theory until it's found to be true.
Right. I could say, well, man, I'm going to conspire to theorize and I'm going to eat this hoagie. Well, once I ate the hoagie, that ain't no theory no more. That's a shit sandwich pretty soon. So, I mean, that makes perfect sense. Gun violence, gun violence, gun violence. And a lot of times what they were doing at one point, where they were telling a lot of black folks, well, you know, you don't need no AR and you don't need this. Don't tell me what I don't need. Negroes ain't running around up in schools doing that shit. Usually when you hear something about a black person, you know, it's you know, he stole some money, or, you know, he fucked my bitch, or, you know, it's usually a crime of passion. You know, you really don't have a lot of cases where you just see these giant mass shootings. It's a target. He did something to me and I'm trying to get at him. Real simple crimes. Majority of them are very simple. I have a personal problem with this dude. He did something to me. He did something to my homie. He did something to my mama. That's typically what you see.
Stepped on my shoes.
He stepped on my shoes.
I don't think it happens as much anymore, but
yeah, he stepped on my shoes. Oh man, he's dissing me. He's dissing my dead homie. He sent me a tweet. He said he gonna slap me. He, you know, whatever. I mean, it's you know, it's not.
Bullshit.
Yeah, it's some bullshit. It ain't usually like well, you know, I ain't got no problems with these people, but let me drive way over here. You know, it don't really be like that. So the thing is like, when you think about back in the day, the redcoats are coming. If we could disarm you and say, well, hey, you can't have this, you can't have that, then we could just control you any old kind of way. That's easy. I mean, you got all these, I done seen, and people thinking, oh, well, total recall, that's not, man, listen, there ain't no reason for them to have these damn robots that could do backflips. And people think that's cute. There's a reason why they have that shit. These little police dogs and these little AI robots or whatever, they're not using this to be cute. There's something behind this. There's something behind those robots and all that. And see, another thing that they could do is, this is another ingenious thing, a very insidious, ingenious thing they could do. Well, Trayvon or Mike Brown or Sandra Bland, well, we seen you walking down here. We thought you were a target. Well, see, you can't convict no robot, bro. You can't. I mean, they actually have robots that they could put weapons on and they could shoot you and stuff like. They have stuff like that. They haven't showed it yet, but they showed you the prototype. They could send one of these little attack dogs or something to harm a black person and say, oh, well, we thought that. And see, and this was makes it really nefarious. Well, we thought that he was putting us in danger. But if we send a robot at you, another cop ain't in danger, see? Another cop ain't in danger. They're going to try to use that, but you can't. It's like a drone. When you have a war on, we have a war on these people over here in this country. So we had to drop this weapon off and it killed 20 people. We didn't mean to kill those kids. There's no accountability. You can say, well, this was a crime of warfare. They were a terrorist, or they were this or that. But we don't really know who sent the drone.
Somebody knows.
Plausible deniability. That's why when you hear about cases like, even like the brother that got killed by the federal agents at the Uptown restaurant. I know you heard about that. We don't know who shot him. Okay.
Yeah. When he was sitting in his car.
Right. We don't know who shot him. We heard about Chauvin because he did something very brash, but we don't know who shot that brother. All we know, it was the federal agents. There's no oversight. We really don't know. I don't even think you could look that up. You probably can, but we would have heard of an officer's name. It's almost like, okay, we had to do it and that's it. You see what I'm saying? So Yeah, I really do think it's a concerted effort to take away people's weapons and stuff like that. If you look at Nazi Germany, what was the first things they did? You know, first they said, well, hey, these people are, they're a problem, and the talking, there was about 5 or 6 steps before they really start going at it. But the first thing you start doing is the whispering. The next thing you start speaking against them, loudspeakers, and okay, well, guess what? You're the problem. Closing down the business, strip you of your money, strip you of your weapons, and now we can round you up. We could easily round you up. I want to play something for you here. Now, I've told you about my... Hold on, let's see. Hold on. I've told you about... I've now updated my lexicon, and I have put serial hood hitters on the coon train. Shitty cuz
where they belong.
The shitty cuz they're no longer just with capital cooning and just some nigga tap dancing and no, I've extended it. I've extended it to serial hood hitters. I've put them in the coon train. I've officially put them in the coon train.
Care about the lives of their people, they belong there.
Yep.
I don't give a damn what their excuse is.
Yeah, I put them on the coon train. Y'all niggas are sambos too. Y'all are sambos too. When y'all do shit like that, shitty cuz. Speaking of shitty cuz, you said he gave him a rolling 60 years.
Gave him a rolling 60. This goof ass.
They gave him a rolling 60.
There's somebody out there who's gonna try to defend what he did. Goofy ass niggas.
Oh man, I gotta play. Listen, we talked about that before. I'm gonna play that too. Now listen to this broad. Now I'm getting ready to put them in the coon train as well, and I'm gonna tell you why. Let me turn this up. How we get this going on? Okay.
And that nigga still appreciate me. I still got stretch mark, but this pussy is all organic, Nigerian, coochie meat. Niggas love this cat. Yeah. So fuck all everything. And that nigga still appreciate.
This is this Nigerian hood rat posing as a black American, Sukawana. Now, the reason why I mentioned that is because she mentioned it. This Nigerian pussy and all this kind of stuff. Now, you would have thought she's from here. But let me tell you what my issue is.
She might be from here. Like, you got to realize people been moving to America for a long time. It's second, third, fourth generation people who they might as well be right. American.
But she's not one of us. And I'm going to tell you why. Now, yeah, she might sound like your common little hood rat, but they gonna have to hold their own on that one. When I seen a tweet where she said Dr. King probably had a big old country dick, that says something. Now, my issue with this is you've been seeing a lot of slick talk from a lot of these immigrant coons, from Cardi B to Nicki Minaj. They would never say nothing like that about Bob Marley. They probably would be put to death if they went back home and said something like that. They probably couldn't even go back to the Caribbean. Now, I'm not talking about our on-code brothers that we love from the rest of the diaspora that are not on that coon shit. We're talking, I want everybody here listening to us tonight understand, well, I'm not live, but it's a playback. We're not talking about the non-coon sector. We're talking about the immigrant coon sector. Now, I look at her, when you say something like that, I look at you like shitty cuz. The shitty cuz, he's from here. But nigga, you're a descendant of slave coon. You're not one of us anymore. Now, a lot of times we hear about, well, we need unity. I don't want to unify with niggas like that. I don't at all. Some people say, well, you should, everyone should. No, we don't. We do not need to unify with Negroes like that. We need to leave them where they're at and get away from them. We need to get away from them. We have to get away from that kind of thinking, because even if you said it as a so-called joke, you still don't get no pass. You don't get to speak against our greats like that. You don't say nothing like that. I would never say nothing like that about Betty Shabazz or Coretta Scott. I wouldn't even play with them like that, fam. I would never say nothing like that about Ida B. Wells. Oh, I'd smash Ida B. Wells. I'd never say no shit like that. There's certain things that I'm just not going to do. And the issue is when you start letting Negroes do that, and see, you know, people are going to think about us no matter what, because it doesn't matter how good we are, how smart we are. White supremacists are always going to say all these lies about what we're really not. But at the same token, we have to set some kind of standard in our group that's a no-fly zone. You don't get to say stuff like that. Prime example, like you said, people defending shitty cuz. It should have been something set up. Now I get it. I'm not from there, so I'm going to be mindful of how I say things, because I know they have their own politics in South Central. But it should have been something.
Politics is dumb shit.
Well, yeah.
Never get that shit a pass.
It should have been
niggas fighting over beef that they ain't got shit to do with. You know what I'm saying? It's just they didn't inherited beef from 30 years ago, and they still fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's
goofy as hell.
It's the epitome of tribalism, just like back in the motherland.
That's exactly what it is.
You know, there should have been something set up where as soon as he showed up to the Marathon store, hey, you can't be around here. You can't be around here. Nip shouldn't even been out there talking to that dude. Somebody should have took care of him. Hey, this dude's trying to raise up the hood. He's giving people jobs. He's doing this. He's helping with cryptocurrency. He's doing this, that, and the third. Protect him. You don't let no dusty bum ass nigga show up and start talking. He shouldn't even have the option to speak. Get him out of here. Because we know you're coming around for no good. You always wanted to rap. You were trash. You're jealous hearted. And it's not like they didn't know who he was. And that's the issue. That could have been me. That could have been me, fam. That could have been me with Minnehaha one-stop shop. Open up 3-4 shops. Some dude, hey man, I need you to put me on. Well, brother, I can't put you on.
But see, the difference is you ain't affiliated with that bullshit. So whatever he had going on, you wouldn't have felt a need to even address the shit.
No, not like that. Not like that. I mean, like you said, bro, even though he wasn't active in that life no more, he still was. I mean, he was a part of it. Yeah, he's a part of it. I mean, to my understanding, once you're in, you're in. You're always
Pretty
in.
Much.
You're always in. It's not. I mean, you literally have to move away. You have to move away and just really don't come back.
Or you have to have so many stripes that when you make that decision, they just got to honor that shit.
Right. And I mean, I think he had a lot of stripes, but he probably got tired of the extortion. From what I heard, he got tired of paying. Now, I don't think they were slapping him around and all that kind of shit, but they probably said, all right, man, look out for us or whatever. And he probably like, you know what? Y'all grown ass men. I done looked out for y'all enough. And that's probably
what was a conspiracy out there too. They tried to say that was a setup. It wasn't what they said happened.
I think there was a higher hand. I believe it was, and we're gonna play this. We're gonna play Lil Sodi for 83rd in a minute. And that really what you sent me, that YouTube, that kind of set it all for me. And when they tried to do the trademark, try to steal it, I was like, okay, yeah, that, because ultimately LA got what they wanted. The LA got what they wanted. Now they could gentrify the hell out of it. You know, he was going to buy a lot of stuff around there, but that Marathon store was just a start. They said, oh, no, we can't have that. I think it was, I see LAPD all over it. I think it might have been some politicians that wanted that land and stuff. And then you're like, okay, well, we could just do, I mean, we've seen it a
I
thousand
wasn't
times.
talking about that. I'm talking about that whole extortion thing. Like that was you don't want to pay? it was one of them.
Yeah. And you got to keep in mind, they never wanted him to have that store. LAPD and the city of LA, they never wanted him to have that store. They never wanted him to have.
I ain't talking about no LAPD. I'm talking about his own.
Right. But what I'm saying, bro, is now that they don't have the property anymore, now that they're not really using it, now the city has their land back. They wanted the land. They wanted to gentrify that shit. That little section of town they got, and I think Leimert Park and a couple other places in LA is the only black strongholds. Now that's going to go to Mexicans and whites. But I do think that it was somebody, it was definitely internal, because you had to feel comfortable to be able to walk up on them anyway, and to be able to do that. Somebody should have been out there returning fire. That's what really blew out of my mind. Like, whoa, where's the homies at? Like, you just got him out here just stranded?
There was people out there with him, but the story is one of them didn't have the strap.
Man, you
out there with him.
You a high powered nigga, man. You a millionaire nigga. Ain't nobody supposed to be out there like that, bro. Somebody supposed to be out there, and I guess maybe he was trying to keep it clean. That's what I'm thinking. Like, man, I don't want none of y'all up here like that. But somebody should have been out there. You supposed to have 2-3 dudes with you all, at all times when you're like that. When you're that big and you got that much going on, you got all these big plans and you helping out all these people, you ain't supposed to be naked like that. But they said he felt comfortable. They said he would just go to places like Compton and Watts by himself with his jewelry on and no security and stuff. You can't do that. You're different now. You're giving people jobs. You're opening up businesses. You just, I don't know. I don't think I would have ever felt that comfortable, fam. I don't trust y'all. I don't trust Minneapolis. I'm sorry. I don't, fam. I don't trust Minneapolis that much. I simply don't. Not if I'm riding like that and got that much going on. I'm gonna have to move just a little different. Even if I wasn't affiliated. Because I know that as a young black man, if I'm a young black man and I got a lot going on and I got all these nice rides and, people just know, like, hey, we could just catch them. I mean, you got to think about it, bro. They still in Hellcats now. They killing niggas over Hellcats. Can you imagine me riding around in Minneapolis in a Benz? People ain't going to be happy for me.
Something that's attainable.